In prime time, Sunday night baseball, the Mariners deliver, and this fan base is ready. This fan base is ready for a division title. It is ready for more postseason baseball. It is ready to get this team into the dance. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners complete a dominant three-game sweep of the New York Mets. They win this one 12-1. They outscore the Mets 22-1 in this three-game sweep. The Mariners improved to 63-56 on the year. They remain tied in the AL West, 2.5 back in the wild card. Before I go any further, do me a favor, smash the like button. You guys and gals do it all the time, but it helps tremendously for the videos. Comment your thoughts down below on this win and this series sweep for the Mariners. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe. 38 subs away now. We're on the cusp of 4,000 subs, a huge, huge number that I'm trying to get to. And I think I will here soon enough, but you guys can help me out celebrate this three-game sweep by hitting that subscribe button. Real quick, going back to the standings there, Houston does sweep Boston today, so you remain tied with them. Kansas City, for some reason, didn't play. I don't know why they were off on a Sunday. The Mariners do move to 2.5 back in the wild card. And they do actually pass Boston, I believe, for the first out in the wild card. So there's nobody in between them and Kansas City for that final wild card spot. I think it was Mariners, sir. It might have been Ty Dan Gonzalez from Locked On Mariners that made a tweet saying, listen, obviously we want Houston to lose. You want to win the division. But if Houston's going to sweep anybody, Boston and Kansas City aren't the worst teams in the world for them to sweep. I want the AL West. I know all you want to win the AL West, but just going to keep tabs on the wild card races as well now as it gets a little bit tighter as we get down the home stretch. It wouldn't shock me. Houston could go on a big tear, and that wild card does come and play more. So obviously gunning for the AL West, but I will keep tabs on the wild card as well. Prime time, Sunday night baseball. Good to be back on Sunday night baseball for the Mariners. It had been over 20 years, 2004 against the White Sox. Crazy enough, they were showing some of the highlights from that game. I remember that game very well. The Holbert Cabrera walk-off walk. 04 was a rough year. Made it through all 162 of those, so you can't hurt me. And just have Sunday Night Baseball back. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of ESPN or anything like that, but really cool to see the Mariners on the national stage. The Mariners kind of get that attention. It's a team that I'm sure most people outside of Seattle, nowadays there's more streaming stuff and more stuff available. But, in the past, this would have been people's only chance to see this Mariners team. So really cool to see them in the spotlight, see personalities like Victor Robles highlighted, to see the team dominate and get a huge win and a huge series sweep. And for me, the most important thing is this fan base. It's all of you. Now, I'm not in Seattle. I mean, I'm part of the fan base, but I'm not in Seattle. But for all you that are there going to these games, and I'll include myself in, they're just, but we deserve a winner. We deserve a division title. You can see it. The energy is there at the ballpark. It stunk, game 3 in 2022 to not even score a run in that game because that crowd was ready to erupt. I will maintain this is a baseball city. It is. I know it sounds crazy with the Seahawks, and I love the Seahawks. I'm a huge Seahawks fan. But I think the reason things have gravitated towards football in the last 15, 20 years is football's just been better. I can go through all the numbers. I think the Seahawks made the playoffs 20 times in the time frame the Mariners have made 3 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win versus no playoff series win outside the wild card in 22. So, of course, people are going to gravitate towards football. But I can tell you, if the Mariners win this division, this town is going to be buzzing. It already is, at least from what I can see. I'm not there, but man, the energy in the park felt amazing tonight. So if you've been to games this year, thank you is kind of a weird thing to say because I'm not on the team. I don't really need to thank you, but I just, for you guys that are at the park, I want this team to win so bad because you guys are bringing that energy night in, night out for this ball club. And you could really feel it. I could feel it watching the game on TV. And then the play on the field helps as well when the Mariners are winning some ball games. So, coming into this series, I said I had a good feeling about the series with the Mets. I said it Thursday night after that walk-off win against the Tigers. I couldn't really tell you much why. I just felt like the type of series the Mariners do pretty good in. I think part of it, too, was, the Mets have such a strong offense. Not that their pitching's been bad. Quintana, Manaya's been good of late. Severino's not terrible. What's his ERA at? 4.17 after today. He's been decent. But that seems like the type of team the Mariners can beat, right? Because you're coming with a great offense. Okay, we know the Mariners starting pitching is good enough to shut down any lineup. And the Mets pitchers were all kind of just solid, not great, not terrible, but okay guys. So you find a way to scrap out some runs against them. Your pitching is good enough to hold this lineup in shape. Bryce went 6 innings, Logan went 7, Castillo went 6. Tonight didn't matter quite as much. The last 2 nights were a little bit closer, and you were able to turn it over to your lockdown relievers, Colin Snyder, Munoz, Garcia, Voth, guys like that you really trust on the back end. And I just had a good feeling. I thought the Mariners matched up well against the Mets. A team like Detroit, not making excuses, they should beat Detroit. One, you did run into Tarek Skubal in a game. That's tough. I can excuse that loss. And then the Tigers are a team that doesn't hit well anyways. So you don't really get this massive advantage over them because they're not hitting anybody, let alone bad pitchers or good pitchers. You know what I mean? So their pitchers found a way to kind of shut you down. And then their offense was mediocre poor. You know what I mean? Like, not saying, listen, I'd rather face the Tigers than the Mets. Mets are clearly a better team. But, sometimes the matchups just fall that way. And then you face Skubal in the middle there, and it just makes it a lot tougher. So, you look at the last 6 games, Mets and Tiger series, best pitcher they faced was Skubal, was in Detroit, a Tigers pitcher. So anyways, kind of a weird rant there, getting off topic a little bit, but I did have a good feeling about this series. Didn't necessarily think they'd sweep it, but they found a way to get it done. The bats come alive. I mean, to hold the Mets, as much as I had faith that this pitching staff could hold the Mets offense in check, I did not expect them to hold the Mets to 1 run over 3 games. And I think everybody today with a tremendous performance, like I said, in primetime national stage, really, really good to see. Well-earned day off tomorrow. Hopefully a little bounce back series. Well, bounce back in terms of against Detroit as they go on the road. Maybe they can play a little bit better in Detroit against the Tigers than they did in Seattle. So I think Houston does play tomorrow, so maybe a chance to get that half-game lead going into Tuesday would be really nice. But a great and such a fun win, too. Like I said, I think everybody contributed. Let's dive into it. Starting with the pitching, Luis Castillo, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, dialed in. I mean, everything was 97, 98. Castillo was painting the fastball. Cal was calling it for kind of up and away. Castillo was dotting it up and away. They had a couple of bats where lost a little bit of the command, but not a lot of hard contact. Rosarina makes the great catch in left field that I thought was going to drop in off Brandon Nimmo, which would have tied the game. So wiggled out of a few jams. Had a ridiculous swing and miss from Jose Iglesias that tied him up in knots, had him fall to the ground. Starting pitching can be a momentum sometimes. Bryce Miller dialed in Friday. Logan follows it up yesterday, and Castillo dialed in on Sunday. And this Mariners staff is good enough to go a few turns through the rotation and do stuff like that. So it's really good to see Castillo, kind of the veteran of this staff, finish off the Mets. And still, listen, I love the staff. I love everybody on it. You can debate it, but Castillo's probably still my guy game 1. If you get to a game 1 and you have the opportunity to set your rotation, odds are the Mariners probably won't have that opportunity with how close this race is going to be, division or wild card. But Castillo would still be my guy. I just think the veteran experience, big game pitcher. I know last year down the stretch struggled a little bit, but the playoff series in 22, even against Houston, threw the ball well, and in the big stage tonight, absolutely fantastic. And I think the Mariners starting pitching made this. I don't think people maybe realize how good this Mets lineup really is. They were 5th or 4th in runs in baseball coming into this series. This is not a chump lineup at all. Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Nimmo's a good hitter. McNeil's been good. I know Vientos was scratched today, but still a couple old friends in the lineup: Jesse Winker, Ben Gamel, and Luis Torrens. So a third of the Mets lineup was old Mariners, but in general, it's been a good Mets offense this year. So that is no easy task that the Mariners starting pitchers took on this series, and they were more than up to it. Only blemish for Castillo was the McNeil home run, and at that point it was 4-0, not the end of the world. Colin Snyder, shutout inning, got a double play and a strikeout. Austin Voth, a shutout 8th inning with, I believe, a strikeout as well and a walk and a hit. Troy Taylor makes his MLB debut. Really cool to see, just the icing on the cake of a super fun night for the Mariners, getting to see the young man make his debut. He came up before yesterday's game. Edward Pizarro went down. Pizarro would come up when Hernandez was DFA'd. Jonathan Hernandez does clear waivers, so he'll head to Tacoma, which I like. I do like Hernandez. I think there's some upside there, so I like that he's sticking in the organization. Still think he's someone that could help Not claiming he's going to be coming to the ninth inning, bases loaded, nobody out, and winning you a World Series, but I do think he is someone that could help the team, maybe still even in September. But great debut from Troy Taylor with his family in the stands there. Did walk a batter, but follows it up with a couple strikeouts to finish it out. Really good stuff from Taylor. And not just a random guy coming up here with, oh, hey, this 10-year minor league vet's coming up to the pen here to pitch a little bit. Taylor's a legit prospect that has a shot, right, to contribute here for this bullpen. We know with Munoz and Garcia, Voth has been solid, so is Snyder. Saucedo's been struggling a little bit. So you're kind of looking, Thornton's been really up and down of late. Taylor can kind of take that role, really maybe help stabilize some of those games where you're down 2-1 or down 2-0 and keep it there and allow the offense to battle back and then go to Garcia and Munoz. So Taylor's a guy that can definitely help. This is not just a nobody coming up here. This is a legitimate relief prospect that can definitely help the Mariners here in September and should be pretty fresh as well. So nice debut from Troy Taylor. Pitching staff just tremendous tonight, tremendous all series. Castillo gets his 10th win of the year. Mets scored 1 run the entire series. Just incredible pitching by this Mariners staff. Let's look into the offense that collected 12 runs today, 7 walks, did strike out 15 times. Not worried about the strikeouts when you put up 12 runs, right? That's really been the issue. Strikeouts, you want to see them come down, but if the team's scoring, I can live with 3-run home runs sandwiched around a strikeout. That's okay. So when you're not putting runs on the board and strikeout, that makes it a little more frustrating. And I think the shadows early on were hurting too. The announcing crew was talking about it, along with Victor Robles and his monkeys, which I loved when Victor Robles was going to make the catch. Like, hold on, guys, I got to get this ball, and went and made the catch. That was cool to see. Usually I find those interviews kind of distracting, but Victor Robles is a cool dude, so that was fun to listen to. But the shadows with the weird 4:00 start time, I think might have made it tougher for the hitters to pick up, some of the pitches early on. A lot of strikeouts early for both Castillo and Severino. Listen, the Mariners lineup strikes out. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. Certainly may have been a reason, and they exploded later in the game with 3 in the 5th, 6 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th. So a great offensive showing. Pretty much everybody did damage today for the Mariners. Victor Robles was 1 for 4, 2 RBIs and a walk, reached base twice, a single and a walk, drove in 2 runs on that single and on the walk as well. Along with having some fun antics in the dugout when Polanco hit that home run. Robles right off the bat with the laughing, screaming. He knew right off the bat that thing was gone. So Robles actually been scuffling a little bit, certainly has cooled off, but, still producing, right? Still giving you some value. Obviously, we know he's bringing the vibes to the clubhouse for sure. So good to see him on base a couple times. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs, a game and infield hit on the one Lindor couldn't field. I think that was fair. I think he probably beats that out or would have been really close. Also draws a walk and hit by a pitch, which he didn't seem too happy about when Phil Mayton came in and hit him. But it was a breaking ball. I don't think there was any intent there. But I get as a hitter when you're up 10 runs being frustrated by it. I definitely do. But another game where I feel like it was every post game. Randy Arozarena just quietly on base 3 more times today. One acquisition, that catch he made off Nimmo, and I think the 4th inning, maybe the 5th inning, just tremendous. Saved a run, maybe 2, or certainly saved a run, and then putting 2nd and 3rd with 1 out on the table for the Mets, and maybe they get something going there. Who knows? Maybe they win that game. So Arozarena just dialed in, and what an acquisition on the field, and I think off the field too. The story they were telling, how he came into the clubhouse and pretty much said how he's never not been in the playoffs. Me and Mariner Sir talked about that. He has a great term, calls them the cage guys, right? Justin Turner's a perfect example of that. Carlos Santana was a great example of that. You get some of these guys in here, and listen, you need production. I'm not trying to say, just get clubhouse guys and let them go out there and bat 120 with a 550 OPS. But if they can give you production and they bring that clubhouse veteran leadership, I think it's the icing on the cake, right? Arozarena and Turner are guys that have been to the playoffs consistently. I know a lot of the Mariners have been there, but not consistently. These are guys that have done it a lot. They've been through the highs and the lows. So they know, like, listen, we're in a little slump. We try and come out of it. I don't know what the message is. I'm not in the clubhouse, but you know what I mean, right? Like, you need those kind of presence, that presence in the clubhouse and in the dugout. And Randy is certainly bringing that. I think Justin Turner has as well. Cal Raleigh, 3 for 4, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and a walk. Cal on base 4 times, OPS up to 758 on the year. A double dumper today, 2 home runs, both on the first pitch. of the at-bats, just absolutely crushed by Cal. He was also up with the bases loaded with a 12-1 game, I think, in the 7th inning. He was going for it. I think he just got underneath a little bit, flew out to left field. When you're up 12-1, you go for it, right? You go for that 3 home run, 9 RBI game. So tremendous game from Cal. Another guy, just so cool to see him on the national stage, getting the attention that he deserves for the fantastic baseball player that he is. And don't let it go unnoted that he caught all 3 games in this series that the Mariners held the Mets to 1 run. He deserves a lot of credit as well, getting it done offense and defensively. Julio is back. Julio activated from the IL. Ryan Bliss goes down to Tacoma. Julio 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. That doesn't bother me too much. He didn't have a rehab assignment. He's missed a couple weeks, so he's missed enough time where you probably normally would give him, I think, a handful of games in Tacoma or somewhere to get his timing down. He did have a foul ball. He pulled off of, I don't remember who was off of, might have been off Ottavino. It was a 3-1 pitch pulled down the left field line. That was good to see the contact. The timing looked off. His swing looked a little late, swung and missed through a lot of pitches. Anytime you have 5 strikeouts, the timing's probably off. That doesn't concern me, really. First game back, and with what the Mariners offense did, whatever. You can live with that, obviously, when you put up 12 runs and the rest of guys are doing their thing. I think we all know if we want this team to get to its pinnacle, Julio's going to have to be a big player and a big factor in that. I think there is some legit concern if he was rushed back a little bit. Not a doctor, couldn't tell you. I'm not doubting the staff and saying that they rushed him back, but I think there is some legit concern that maybe it's being a little forced, and he's going to DH for a while until they feel he's ready to go back to center field. Does kind of create a bit of a log jam. They handled it well today. I like seeing Canzone out there in right field. He had a nice game. Raley can play first base. Turner can get occasional day off against righties, and that's fine. Julio will probably get some days off too, so that'll allow you to get Mitch Haniger in there, Raley, more Canzone. Against lefties, I know he's been struggling this year, but you probably still want to find some at-bats for Garver against left-handed pitching, or he may just be relegated to backup catcher role. It's tough because right now you've kind of got a lot of DHs, right? Justin Turner's kind of a DH, can play first. Raley's first in outfield. Canzone plays outfield. Haniger does too. Garver can catch, but a lot of those guys have very DH profiles. Essentially. So you do have a bit of a log jam there. I'll be curious to see how they get everybody playing time. We'll see. Hopefully Julio's back. He was swinging. He didn't really have to run the bases. We'll see what it's like when he gets on base from the injury here. So hopefully he's fine. Hopefully it's just a little timing issue. It's what it looked like to me. He looked okay from what I saw. Just looked like the timing was off. Without a rehab assignment, that's not uncommon. So I'm not too worried about the 0 for 5 with the 5 strikeouts. Again, the Mariners dominating helps that. Had they lost this game 2-1, I might be singing a different tune. But let's see how the ankle and everything responds as he gets more at-bats. Day off tomorrow, probably good. Really surprised they didn't activate him Tuesday. Kind of odd, give him 2 more days. I know Julio probably wanted to play Sunday Night Baseball in front of a national audience, but just kind of a little surprised by that. That's all. Hopefully it works out. It's good to have Julio back. I don't even think I said that because, like I said, this team, in order to get to where we want to go, Julio's got to be a big part of it, even if it's DHing 75% of the games the rest of the way. Jorge Polanco, 3 for 5 with an RBI, solo home run, double, and a single, a triple shy of the cycle for Jorge Polanco. He had a great game. Even yesterday, played well defensively and stung the ball a few times, just didn't have anything to show for it. So glad he got a few hits today because I thought he swung the bat pretty well yesterday night. Luke Raley was 0 for 3, but did walk twice, so on base 2 times. Good to see. Josh Rojas was 1 for 4, the base hit and a walk. Was it a double? No, it was a single. Dom Canzone, 2 for 4, 2 doubles. Welcome back, Dom. His first game he's played since being activated. I've said it many times. There's 40, I always butcher how many games are left, but they played 43 games left. Any contribution you can get from anybody matters. A Dom Canzone hot streak would be huge. You don't have to, you're at the point now I've talked about, like Mitch Haniger. Is Mitch Haniger's overall numbers been great this year? No, in fact, I think he's been a negative WAR player. But if you could get some big hits down the stretch, help deliver, help bring this team to postseason, you can erase the early part of your season, at least for the 2024 Mariners. Obviously, in the offseason, we'll talk about things. But for right now, a Dom Canzone hot streak would be huge. They're not getting a lot of production from that position. Would be absolutely amazing. Mitch Garver, if he can run into a few down the stretch, would be huge for this team. That's the one thing about being in the playoff race is it's nice to be in a playoff race. But the other thing is that you can erase kind of the first half. Adam Frazier, 2022, big moment for the Mariners. Did not have a very good year, but, he got a standing ovation when he came back to T-Mobile because of that double. You know what I mean? So you can still have those big moments. So great to see from Canzone. Hopefully you can get him locked in. He's a streaky player. A nice little hot streak down the stretch here would mean wonders for this ball club. And Leo Rivas, 1 for 2 with a base hit, RBI, and a walk. I've liked Leo Rivas. I think he's had a nice little approach at the plate. I think he's hit some balls hard. Definitely like a good guy to have up in September. Now, certainly now September call-ups are only 28 versus when it used to be 40. So you're a little bit more limited. But a good guy to kind of have, I think, at that last guy on the bench. Good defensive player. And I think some of his at-bats have been okay. I've liked what I've seen. He's certainly filled in admirably when he has played. So everybody but Julio reaches base today, and everybody but Julio and Luke Raley collect hits. Mariners pound out 12 of them. Just a tremendous, tremendous win for the ball club. Such a fun win. That one was, they're just fun. And that was in the fun category. Like I said, on the big stage. Those games, this series makes me believe this team can win this division. I mean, not just like, hey, they're in it, they have a chance. Like, truly believe they will go and win it and take this division. This series makes me believe they've got to stay consistent. Losses are going to happen. Again, not going to win all 43 or 42 or whatever it is the rest of the way. But you got to go to Detroit, win that series. I know you're going to face Skubal again. That's a beatable team. Pittsburgh, you're going to probably face Skeens, I think. That's going to stink, but they are a beatable team. Dodgers going to be tough. So if you want to get these first 2 on the road, because going to LA, but we know how this team is, right? They'll sweep the Dodgers and sometimes lose to other teams. So you got to stay consistent. You got to keep the foot on the gas. Houston's playing good ball. Mariners have stuck with them here, right? I know the Mariners had the 10-game lead, but we're talking since then, essentially, right? They're sticking with them. It's got to keep winning games. And if you keep winning, good things will happen. I will say that again. Don't worry too much about what the other teams are doing. Focus on you. If you win a bunch of games and their teams beat you out, you can tip your cap a little bit. Certainly rather see them win and not get in than lose and then get edged out, essentially. If you guys know what I mean with that. So good to see the Mariners just winning ball games. Great series, off day tomorrow. Channel members, I'll have my number 9 ranked baseball movie up tomorrow for my top 10. So if you want to become a channel member, I'm doing that. I will also have a member stream this week at some point with a contest giveaway. Don't think I did one last month. I think I did for the All-Star game, but it didn't work out or nobody won the contest, essentially. So I'll do another one here with a guaranteed winner. That'll be hopefully this week. Probably maybe one of the Tigers games I'll do it for, depending on when I get home, but I'll post that in the community tab. So think about becoming a channel member. We get to hang out, talk some ball, always fun, and you get my top 10 baseball movies countdown, which will be a pretty fun little series that, like I said, will continue tomorrow night. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday. Like, comment, hit that sub button, and let's go. Enjoy the off. Who's Houston play tomorrow? Kind of want to see. No, not what I meant to hit, right? August 11th. That's today. Monday, August 12th. Do they play? They play the Rays. So hopefully Tampa, Framber Valdez versus Taj Bradley. So hopefully the Rays can find a way to win that one tomorrow. And then the Mariners would be back in first place by half game. It's going to go back and forth the rest of the way, but it's always good to just be in first place in the moment. So let's hope the Rays can get it done tomorrow. Like, comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you all. Have a great Sunday night. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.